Has the US military directly exposed President Trump's bold lie, where he confidently claimed complete and total control over the strategic Strait of Hormuz? Trump boldly declares that Iran has been utterly defeated and poses no further threat. Yet the US Navy continues to face significant struggles and persistent challenges in directly confronting and overcoming Iran's formidable naval capabilities in the region.
You know, that the Strait, what we've done with the blockade is amazing, and nobody gets through, and nobody wants to get through. Nobody's trying. The one tried, they shut out the engine, but nobody's trying. We have complete control.
Even now, the US military remains deeply engaged in developing detailed operational plans to counter Iran's fast attack boats, deadly sea mines, and precision-guided missiles. In a stunning development, Iran has captured 2 ships allegedly linked to Israel right in the middle of the Trump truce, leading to the question, is the US Navy completely helpless? Amid this prolonged and extended ceasefire agreement that's supposed to bring calm to the region, the US military's secretive game plan for securing and dominating the vital Hormuz Strait has been dramatically leaked to the public on April 23, exposing their strategies. According to a recent report, the US is actively preparing comprehensive contingency plans that outline potential strikes against Iran's heavily fortified defenses positioned strategically throughout the Hormuz Strait to neutralize any emerging threats. The US Navy is intensely focused on devising tactics to neutralize all major Iranian threats in the Hormuz Strait, ready to spring into action immediately if the fragile truce shatters and escalates into full-blown conflict once again. The US military is zeroing in its efforts on countering the full spectrum of Iranian weapons, including those insidious sea mines, swift fast attack boats, and various other advanced armaments designed to wreak havoc in contested waters. These explosive details about the US plans and Trump's claims were first reported in a CNN broadcast on April 23, as confirmed and highlighted by the reliable source Iran International, bringing the story to a wider global audience. A CNN reporter revealed, quote, US military officials are developing new plans to target Iran's capabilities in the Strait of Hormuz in the event the current ceasefire with Iran falls apart, multiple sources tell me. Another option, target individual Iranian military leaders and other obstructionists US officials believe are actively undermining negotiations, unquote. A Defense Department official said, quote, due to Operation Security, we do not discuss future or hypothetical movements. The US military continues to provide the president options, and all options remain on the table, unquote. The US military's detailed operational plans and strategic assessments appeared to directly contradict the public claims made by the US president regarding the overall security and accessibility of the vital Hormuz Strait waterway. On April 23, President Trump confidently stated that the United States now has complete and unchallenged control over the Hormuz Strait, even as a naval blockade continues to create significant tensions in the region.
You know, that the Strait, what we've done with the blockade is amazing, and nobody gets through, and nobody wants to get through. Nobody's trying. The one tried, they shut out the engine, but nobody's trying. We have complete control. Now they can drop their mines in there and do all those stupid things. It's just going to take longer for them to make money because the mines are going to affect them much more than they're going to affect us. But and we don't know that they're doing that, but they could be that they're. If they're doing it, it's a very foolish thing to do. Just like for Iran to shoot at Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar, and Kuwait, Bahrain, all the different places they shot. Nobody expected that. They thought they'd shoot at Israel, in all fairness, but you didn't expect they'd be shooting at numerous other countries. I think it was a big mistake. If they're putting mines down, it's a big mistake for them.
Just a day before Trump claimed that the US fully controls the Hormuz Strait, the Iranian military took bold action by seizing 2 commercial ships right in the heart of the strategically crucial waterway. Additionally, various maritime agencies and tracking services have reported that ships linked to Iran have been successfully crossing the Hormuz Strait without interruption, even amid the ongoing naval blockade imposed by the United States. The US military's claim that it would not allow Iranian ships to transit through the Hormuz Strait has been sharply contradicted, as new reports suggest that multiple Iranian-linked vessels have in fact passed through these strategic waters. Maritime intelligence agency Lloyd's List has asserted that dozens of Iranian ships have successfully crossed the Hormuz Strait, undermining Washington's narrative of a tight and impenetrable blockade. Data compiled by Lloyd's List and reported by the outlet Iran International on April 20 ahead of the truce's expiry paints a very different picture from U.S. military briefings and official statements. At least 26 ships connected to Iran's so-called Shadow Fleet are reported to have bypassed the U.S. blockade on Tehran's ports, slipping through the cracks of enforcement and continuing their journeys. The report cited vessel tracking data that showed continued tanker movements tied to Iranian trade, indicating that energy shipments and commercial routes have remained active despite public claims of severe restrictions. Several oil and gas tankers carrying Iranian energy exports are said to have departed the Gulf despite the curbs, suggesting that Iran's export lifelines are far from completely severed. Iran's Shadow Fleet is described as a network of aging or lightly regulated ships specifically used to evade international sanctions and keep vital oil and gas revenues flowing. These ships typically operate with obscured ownership structures and masked tracking data to move oil and gas under the radar, making it difficult for authorities to monitor, intercept, or halt their activities. Energy markets are bracing for prolonged turbulence after Pentagon planners privately warned that fully clearing Iranian naval mines from the Strait of Hormuz could take up to 6 months. According to reports, U.S. assessments now estimate that removing the mines Iran has laid in and around the strait will be a drawn-out process, not a quick technical fix. Officials from the Department of War delivered this sobering assessment to lawmakers during a classified briefing on April 21, underscoring how serious the challenge has become. The details of that briefing were later revealed by the Washington Post, which cited 3 sources familiar with what was shared behind closed doors. Members of Congress were told that complete mine removal might not even be possible until active hostilities between the United States and Iran have ended. The Pentagon warned that mine sweeping in the narrow strait involves highly complex operations, made even more difficult by strong currents and hazardous underwater conditions. U.S. Navy mine countermeasure units are already under sustained pressure, repeatedly heading into contested waters to support clearance missions. Reports indicate that Iran has deployed more than 20 naval mines in the area, using small boats and GPS-guided drifting devices to scatter them along key shipping routes. These mines are designed to be hard to detect, turning every clearance effort into a complex and dangerous task for U.S. Navy crews working in a potential combat zone. Iran is believed to have begun its mining operations in March, shortly after initial strikes by U.S. and Israeli forces at the start of the war. Defense intelligence assessments suggest Tehran possesses thousands of naval mines suited to the depth, currents, and geography of the Strait of Hormuz. Some reports even suggest that Iran itself may struggle to reliably locate or recover all of the mines it has positioned during the conflict. Before the war, the Strait of Hormuz carried roughly 20% of global oil supplies, magnifying the global impact of every mine laid and every ship delayed. As President Donald Trump extends a ceasefire agreement with Iran amid ongoing tensions in the region, the international focus is now sharply turning toward the continuing U.S.-led naval blockade that remains firmly in place on Iran's key ports and coastal areas. Iran's agriculture minister has publicly claimed that the U.S. naval blockade, despite its broad scope and enforcement, has had surprisingly little overall impact on Tehran's economy, food supplies, and daily operations up to this point. Gholam Reza Nouri, Iran's agriculture minister, made this bold remark on April 21 during a public statement, as reported in detail by news outlet Times of Israel. Iran's agricultural minister said, quote, "Despite the U.S. naval blockade, we have no problem in supplying basic goods and food because due to the size of the country, it is possible to import from different borders. About 85% of agricultural products and basic goods are produced domestically, so the country's food security is established," unquote. The United States had previously imposed a comprehensive naval blockade targeting Iran's major ports and extensive coastlines exactly on April 13, marking a significant escalation in the military and economic pressure. Iran has strongly criticized America's ongoing naval blockade in official statements and diplomatic channels, describing it unequivocally as a clear and direct violation of the fragile ceasefire terms that both sides had tentatively agreed upon earlier. U.S. President Trump, meanwhile, claimed confidently in his latest public address that Iran was already on the brink of total collapse under mounting pressures, even as he announced the extension of the truce to allow for further negotiations. Trump said, quote, "Iran is collapsing financially. They want the Strait of Hormuz opened immediately, starving for cash, losing $500 million a day. Military and police complaining that they are not getting paid. SOS. Unquote. Iranians took to the streets in organized displays of national pride, showcasing their advanced ballistic missiles prominently as they celebrated the ceasefire extension with parades and public rallies across major cities.